Andrew Rothman here from Invisible Oranges, editor-in-chief, actually co-editor-in-chief with my colleague John Rosenthal. Check him out. We're here with Unearth, Trevor Phipps, probably the best metalcore band of all time, in my humble opinion. Definitely the heaviest. But we're here to talk about the new album and I guess the history of the band. And I'm going to ask you a few questions and we'll just go from there.
Cool.
Great. So, this new album, it comes out Friday, which is excellent. You guys, it seems like, it's been 4 years since the last one, and I think it was actually 3 or 4 years to the previous one. So you guys kind of take your time, it seems like, in writing material. Is there some kind of writing process that you guys go through that takes additional time, or?
Well, this past one, we had a series of reasons why. We did a lot of different touring. We did a lot of touring in Asia, a lot of touring in Europe.
Right.
Nick also hurt his back. Nick was out for a full year,
Oh, shit.
so he had surgery. We had Jordan Mancino fill in, but we weren't writing with Nick at the time. Plus, we wanted to kind of settle in and make sure this is a banging record. Every single song was solid. And early in our career, we were kind of in that label format where it's every 2 years you put out a record, you tour on it for a year and a half, takes 6 months or 3 months, whatever, to write and record the next one. And we did that for the first handful of records, but we're not going to do that for every record.
Right.
We have enough material now where we could put out a record next year because we took these 4 years, spent time with our families, spent time kind of focusing on what we want to do with our sound.
Right.
And we actually wrote 24 songs.
Oh, shit.
We've never been that prolific in a writing period ever.
Right.
We cut it down to 14 to record for the record, and we picked the top 10 that made the most sense for the album.
Right.
The other 4 are good songs. They'll probably be retooled and put on maybe a future release of some kind of value. Not on Extinctions at all. We're not going to do that kind of
Okay.
second release.
Okay. But maybe like an EP or something? Or?
EP or 7-inch or
That'd be
maybe
rad.
even the next record, because
Yeah.
these songs are solid songs, but they didn't fit into the whole scope of this record. This record kind of has a theme.
Okay, and I wanted to ask, like, kind of what's the theme of the new record? Like, what does it bring to the Unearth image that hasn't been there before?
Every song on this record is about loss or death
Right.
in some way, and that's the other 4 songs aren't about that. So I didn't set out to write the record like this, to write the lyrics to be all about this. It just seemed to happen with all the events that are happening around us, with the environment, with our social issues that are going on, around the planet. It just seemed to work its way into my writing. My writing's always been focused on the way I see the world, current events, personal experiences, and there's just a lot of stuff going on now that turned itself into songs for me.
Right, I think so.
And that's what made those songs the way they were. Plus the material is dark, it's heavy. It made sense to go that route as well. So usually the way I write lyrics between album cycles, we're on tour, I'm at home, I'll jot down if I have a lyrical idea. It can be chorus, it can be one word, it can be everything in between. I'll jot it down, I'll type in lyrics and just an idea. And then when I get the songs, then I get the mood of the song and I go through all the lyrics and here's the topic I'm going to go with.
Right.
And that's just kind of how it panned out.
Have you experienced any like personal loss lately that has influenced your writing for the album, or anything that hits heavy with you that really inspired you to?
Yeah, everyone loses family or
right,
friends.
Right. As we get older and kind of.
Yeah, I've been around for a while now, so
Yeah.
that's happened to me before, and I've written about it before, so that stuff has worked its way into my writing.
Right.
And also just kind of the whole social thing. That's what Incinerate is about. I'm trying to bring people together because I've seen a lot of people's views on the world change just by what they're ingesting for news or the memes they're seeing on Facebook.
Right.
And it's at first I really railed against it, and I was talking against it. I was really speaking up and giving my point of view. And that took a step back, and people's minds weren't changing. It seems like it's getting worse. And so I just realized we're all getting a lot more divided by what we're being fed. So I want people to take a step back and be more unified and forget the petty things. Let's talk about the big issues and meet more in the middle everywhere else. And that's where we need to be.
Yeah, and I think metal has the power to bring people of different cultures and different views together because they all like the same thing. They're all there to see kind of the experience of heavy metal played live, and like metal is a universal language across the world. And Unearth has this power, I think, to bring people to. They love the energy. They love the breakdowns. They love everything about kind of what you guys do. And I think it's probably that power, right, that brings people together.
I think the power and emotion in music is a lot more important than arguing over Facebook.
I
and,
agree. Yeah.
If I properly educate myself on the topics I want to talk about,
Right.
and people can hear and feel the emotion in the songs that we're delivering, then I think that's more impactful than any other platform that I have a voice for. Other people have different ways. This is my personal platform for my lyrics. So that's where that stands for that. So, and like you said, we play around the world, and a lot of these issues are worldwide.
There.
We've been to 6 continents, and we're going to continue to go to these places that would continue to invite us back. And I'm seeing these changes around the world. It's not just an American thing. And so I just want to get it out there, talk to people, and engage them in conversation. And I've noticed that when you engage people in conversation, and it's not a heated argument. You do find yourself meeting in a more common place.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to agree with everything that they're thinking.
Yeah.
But when you have a real conversation, you meet more here instead of just getting further and further apart, which you do online somehow. That's just the way it's built.
I think the structure of internet and the way the social media works, it's very conducive to kind of like flat and kind of empty arguments with each other, and like we kind of start resenting each other because of what we're expressing online. And it's so easy to just like be your own persona online and be aggressive and take people down and do this and that. But I think, and what you said about like you can do that, but that's a negative thing, and what you want to focus on is like positivity and like what connects us, what actually brings us together, what do we have in common. And I think it's obvious when you go to any metal show, but especially like a band like Unearth, which has a renowned popularity. People of all kinds of sorts come together and they have a unified kind of experience with music, and it brings them together. And
that's the intent of this band. And no matter what my lyrics say, I never preach on stage. That's not the thing with us. That's not the type of band we are. We're there to have fun. For years we had the chonger on stage. We threw beers at each other. We threw beers in the crowd. That's the atmosphere we want. We want to bring people together.
Right.
And if they find the message, if they come to the show, they get into the songs, and then they get a message from the lyrics, then that's what's important. But on stage, we want to have everyone forget the bullshit, come here and be together as one, and forget all of our differences, and just have a good time here.
Right. And of course, you guys love the mosh pits and the fucking wild, like everyone's.
That's people's release.
Yeah,
get in the pit and let it all
It really
out.
is, and I think Unearth is special out of all the metalcore bands out there, because you guys, and I don't really know how else to describe it, but you guys like have taken the breakdown and turned it into an art form, I think. Like you've taken that idea of like building up to something and letting it release right away. And I think that's a great kind of avenue for bringing people together.
Right
is the breakdown.
That's that's just how we heard it growing up. We heard all these bands before us that had, that started the breakdowns. You had bands like Slayer and Slayer and Sepultura and Pantera and Prong had all these songs that had breakdowns in them.
Right.
So we grew up listening to these bands, and then we got into hardcore as we got a little bit older. Like, hey, let's just blend all this shit together.
Yeah.
And we just kind of made our own sound. And there's so many versions of metal meeting hardcore early on in the 80s even. And just that happened to be where our blend came from in the late 90s.
Yeah. What were you listening to back in like 2001 when Stings of Conscience came out?
That was a lot more of the hardcore back then. I was really into Hatebreed, really into Shai Hulud, Candaria, Indecision was a big one back then, All Out War. But I still had my favorites, man. I grew up with thrash metal, so I'll always love the big four. I love Testament, Exodus, early death metal like Obituary and Deicide, Chemical Corpse, stuff like that, and Death. So stuff like that was where I started, and then I kind of just found more stuff from there.
Right.
And,
now, as Unearth progressed throughout the years, did you find your musical tastes changing? Do you look back on those early Unearth days and think, oh, I could have been like better or listened to different music, or has it all been like kind of just a progression for you as you move along?
I think it's all been kind of a journey.
Yeah.
Finding new music and finding stuff I didn't realize that I would like. And I was a little bit late to the more Scandinavian metal scene.
Right.
When this band first started, I was more of a hardcore band. When we got together, I was in a band called Second Division in the mid '90s. A bunch of my friends from high school, and I played shows with the band that would eventually become Unearth. They were called .04, and they kind of played. It was more like sheer terror meets obituary, so they kind of had their own version of metal meets hardcore. And my band was almost straight up hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
And when they wanted to form a new band, and they asked me to front it, the drummer gave me a mixtape of like, this is kind of what we're gonna go for. Like, the drummer wanted to unearth a new sound in metal and hardcore, and it was a bunch of stuff I wasn't really into. It had At the Gates on it, had In Flames on it, and this is '98. And there's all this stuff. I'm like, okay, this is killer. So I found myself getting into this stuff that I wasn't previously exposed to.
Right.
So I was kind of more into my old school vibe and then the modern hardcore vibe.
Interesting. Cool. And I guess Unearth has kind of taken its own path in the metalcore scene because you guys have the aggression that I think a lot of bands have and kind of go for, but there's an element, and I think you mentioned this earlier, of like fun to your music.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you should enjoy it in a way that's like kind of, it's not superficial, but it's like, it's upbeat and it moves you, I think. And if it causes you to move your body and be in a scene, I guess, around with a lot of people, then I think that's a good thing.
It's a good thing. I mean, we started out, we've always had serious lyrics. We wanted the shows to be energetic.
Yeah.
And that was, as a young band, that was what it was all about. And we didn't really dial in the true vibe until around '04.
Okay.
We put out Oncoming Storm.
And that's for me, that's like the album. That's like that's the...
That was
Yeah.
that was the peak of our songwriting in the early days,
Mm-hmm.
and we've gone a lot of different avenues since. And I really think this new record it takes a step further. But I'll credit touring with Damage Plan.
Really? Interesting.
Because we all grew up Pantera fans.
Yeah.
We saw their home videos,
Yeah.
and so we saw what, the metal party vibe was, and we all looked up to it like, holy shit, we want to aspire to this.
Right.
And then when we toured with Damage Plan for 7 weeks, we saw it every day, and they would throw down the party. They made it fun for everybody. They included everybody. We were first to 4 on the package. They treated us like we had been friends for 20 years.
Awesome.
And
that's really cool.
Every day was just the most fun we'd ever had up to that point of our lives
Yeah.
playing music. But they also had a level of being professional, where they'd party, they'd drink, they'd throw down every night, but they also kept it to a point where they're going to be professional every night and play the show and not get too shithoused before they play.
Right.
The real party's after the gig for them.
No, they had love. It sounds like they had love for the music, and that was the reason they were there.
And all those around them. They made
Right.
the tour just a rolling 4-band party for 7 weeks, and it was the funnest time. And so we learned from them, like, okay, let's make touring like that. That's
Right.
That's cool. Let's be as serious as we need to be with our songs and our music, but let's also light it up with the party. And another band, more on the hardcore level, that taught us that too, was growing up in Boston, watching Murphy's Law. They just come on stage and they just have a party every day. They're throwing beers to the crowd, throwing beers at each other, and just they're down in Budweiser on stage every day. It's like, all right, well, this is awesome. These are bands we look up to, and so let's just put that into our personality too, and just because that's all bands are, is you play what you're influenced by and you push it to your own style.
Yeah.
And so we absorbed that stuff and just made it part of our own, and just continued pushing what we do further.
Right. How would you react to the idea that with this new album, Extinctions, like, Unearth is back? Like, there's some element of like, you were gone, but not you're back. But you haven't been gone. You've been releasing albums all over the 2010s and everything. But like, there's an element to the new album that reminds me of the old. It like kind of harks back to the Stings of Conscience and Oncoming Storm, with elements of the March and other albums in there. But like, it's got such genuine energy, I think, that it feels like this is almost your first album.
So there's a part of that rings true. I mean,
Yeah.
It's been 4 years.
Yeah.
This is our 7th record. A lot of our peers have come and gone or taken a break.
Right. You stuck around, yeah.
This is our career. This is what we've been doing for a long time. What we want to continue to do with our lives for our career. And we see trends changing, things happening, different bands getting more popular, but we're still here. We're still touring, but we have to fight for our lives. So even though I love all our records, something about this record we got extra fired up for, and you can't force that. Like all those records beforehand, we tried as hard as we could. We thought the songs were banging. Like, this record's it. Every time you write a record, record it, you think that's the best one.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something else when there's that extra fire from something that's building inside each member of the band that really, I think, set this record apart from the others.
I really agree.
There's like what's the word I'm looking for, man? I can't place the word other than just extra fire.
That makes sense. Okay, this has been Andrew Rothman of Invisible Oranges. We've been sitting with Trevor Phipps talking about the new record and the past of the band and what they've been through and his experience doing this professionally. And just wanted to thank you for the great interview and also the show tonight. It's going to be excellent. Yeah. Yep. And check out the new record. You definitely want to check it out. It comes out Friday. We'll post a stream or something of it for you guys. And headbang and mosh to the shit out of it and just have a good time. Yeah. Hold some invisible oranges. Fucking invisible oranges, yeah.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it. Excellent. Thank you.